Welcome back. So we are going to go ahead and continue our episode on the winners of the 2020 NBA free agency. So Davis, go ahead and kick us off for it. Give us your second winner.
Yeah, so my second big winner of this offseason is going to be the Philadelphia 76ers. And so I'm just going to start from the top down of this organization. So going from Elton Brand to Daryl Morey as a GM, massive upgrade. And that's something that is going to be paying dividends for their organization for the next however long they decide to keep Daryl Morey.
Yep.
Because that's a role for their franchise they've really struggled with. Over ever since the Joel Embiid and the whole trust the process kind of began, they've
Yeah.
been able to find good talent, and Daryl Morey is known for that. And I'd like to think that if Daryl Morey would have been there 2 off seasons ago, maybe LeBron James would have been that Philadelphia 76ers jersey. But then going down to the head coach, going from Brett Brown into Doc Rivers, also another massive upgrade in my mind. Brett Brown was a little suspect as a coach, in my opinion. Um, I don't want to dwell too long on the whole Brett Brown thing. I mean, he doesn't have a job, so I mean, there's reasons for that. But so now going into the personnel on the roster, they went with the full tactic of getting rid of Horford and his contract and acquiring a bunch of shooters. And
Yep.
that is perfect for me. So they got Danny Green, Seth Curry, Dwight Howard, Tyrese Maxey, and they got rid of Josh Richardson, Al Horford. And so in my eyes, this is kind of the best thing you can do to try to see if this whole Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid thing that we've talked about for season after season, if it will work. Now they have Tobias Harris, who the most underrated part of the whole Doc Rivers signing as head coach is that people forget that Tobias Harris was fully unloaded and all of his potential talent was unleashed on the Clippers under Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers knows how to get the most out of him in terms of coming up with schemes and trying to design different packages to try to get him involved. And I think that's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon, especially with the lack of shot creation that Ben Simmons has from beyond the arc. So that, and then as much as I was talking some shade on Danny Green earlier with the whole Lakers getting rid of him situation, I mean, they're not really losing a lot by trying to bring him in because they have other solid shooters on this team. They have young developing players like Matisse Thybulle, um, and now Tyrese Maxey as well, and Seth Curry is one of the highest, most efficient 3-point shooters of all time in the NBA. So that's not going to be a concern. But Danny Green, they're just paying him to see, can we get the former Danny Green that everyone knew and loved? If I don't think they're signing him with the hopes that he's going to be Finals MVP, a ridiculous player,
Yeah.
obviously, but if they can get a little bit of what he was in prior seasons, I think they'll be just fine. And I'm just glad to see that the Philadelphia 76ers for once seem to be on a track that looks positive for their roster composition for the future. And, if things don't work out with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid this season, I think Daryl Morey is going to be able to get the most bang for the buck for those players. So I think the Philadelphia 76ers come away with this offseason as ginormous winners.
Um, I think they made some good moves. I like getting Danny Green, Seth Curry, and getting these shooters. I think, as we've talked about, getting Tyrese Maxey at 21, that was good value there in the draft. My concern is this. I don't think they did anything in any way, shape, or form that is going to put them into winners in the East contention. Contention, mind you. Not even like they're going to win it. I don't think they're even contenders for it. I think at best, they're the fourth best team in the East right now. At best. I mean, the Celtics, Nets, and Bucks are all better in my opinion. I mean, to me, it all comes down to the core that I truly in my heart don't believe that Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons can or will ever work. I think they have to move on from one of them. I think that's the only way that they're going to be able to actually compete because I just don't think their games fit well together. They're just not compatible pieces. I'm very interested to see the fact that I don't think that Doc Rivers is going to be able to create actually like a sufficient offense for them down there. And then they're going to be like, oh, wow, like they actually don't work together. Like, no duh, like they haven't been working for years. I don't think that's all on Brett Brown. Like, I don't think Brett Brown's the best coach, but I think I think they just are incompatible players. And to me, I mean, I think that's a reason why they weren't a winner on my list is because I think they have to get rid of one of those two guys. And I think in an offseason where, due to the lack of a strong, talented free agency class, the trade market was so strong. I think this would have been a great offseason to try and move away from Ben Simmons to Joel Embiid and really going forward construct your team to actually compete for a championship. Because right now, this team, I mean, as I said, I don't think they're even in contention for the East, let alone a championship. And so that's why, I mean, I just don't think they're going to get there. I understand why they wanted to give Doc Rivers a chance to kind of work with them and see if they can make it work. But I just don't think it's going to happen. I wouldn't at all be surprised to see one of those guys get traded by the trade deadline this season. It would not surprise me. So that's just my biggest concern with them and one of the reasons why they're not a winner on my list.
Okay, so I think we're forgetting the value of good coaching in the NBA, first of all. And second, let's not
You're
forget
right.
that
Doc
Ben
Rivers did a really good job out in Los Angeles. That's a good point. My bad. Oh wait, sorry, my listeners. In case you don't understand the sarcasm, they blew a 3-1 lead. But go ahead, Davis.
you could say Doc Rivers blew a 3-1 lead, or you could say the players in that case blew a 3-1 lead. But well, I digress.
Hey, who got fired?
So, all right,
All
there's
right.
other reasons. I don't want to get into all that right
Go
now,
ahead. Go
but
ahead. Go ahead. I'll stop
but
interrupting.
but but so just 2 seasons ago, the 76ers were in the Eastern Conference Finals and lost to the Raptors in a devastating game 7 that, they could have won. They
Yep.
could have. And if they win that game, they're in the finals, and who knows what happens. Last season, Ben Simmons was injured and was not able to play in the playoffs. So, they had to be relying on, kind of bums. I don't want to say bums, but like they did. And,
Yeah.
The Celtics were rolling at that time. So I don't know. I don't think this whole Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid thing, I mean, there's a reason they haven't given up on them yet. Maybe I'm just, kind of holding out because I think talent is talent and there's always a way to make talent work and mesh together. It's just a matter of trying to find how to make that happen. And because, I mean, what other like two stars would you say just, oh, their games don't complement each other? Like, I feel like that's kind of a bad argument just
I think
because
superstars can make it work. I don't think good players can always make it work. And I don't think Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons are superstars in any sense.
they're the next level down from a superstar, whatever you might constitute that next level down as. They're
I don't know.
absolutely both like top. Well, okay, Joel Embiid is a top 10 player in this league, top 3 center. I think pretty
I don't know
unquestionably.
if he's a top 10 player. I would agree. I think he's the third best center in the NBA. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, so that's why I said top 3 and not top 5
Oh,
or
I thought you were saying
top
both.
2.
I thought you were. Well, I thought you were saying like top 10 player and top 3 center.
Yeah, for Joel Embiid, absolutely.
I don't
We
think
can
he's
do
a
a
top
top
10
10
player.
ranking
We
at some
might
point.
have to.
We might have to after that comment, I
I
suppose.
just don't. I think if you like, without getting off on too much of a tangent, but like I know a lot of people were saying like James Harden's not going to work if they ever trade him to Brooklyn. I mean, in my opinion, all of those, like I agree in the sense of like if you just bring talent together, they're going to make it work. Like there might not always be the perfect fit. Like Russ and Harden weren't the perfect fit, but they still made it work. And so I don't think, and like I agree with that to an extent, but I also think a big point that you need to note is in order for that to work, you need to have players with significant maturity. And I think Embiid and Ben Simmons, in terms of basketball IQ, are rather immature. I don't know if basketball IQ is the right word, but I just don't think they're the most mature players. I don't think they're willing to make those sacrifices to really, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like connect their games to each other, complement their games together. I just don't, because to me, Embiid is he's the most dominant post player in the NBA right now. I think that's fair. And you need him to be on the block. And I think until you can get Ben Simmons to take jump shots, it's just not going to work, because what's happening is you're gonna keep asking Embiid to do it, and that's not his game. That's not where he's dominant. Yeah, he can step out and make a shot, but you don't want him taking 5 threes a game. You want him taking 1 or 2, and being efficient on those. And that's why I don't think it's going to work, because I don't see Ben Simmons making that sacrifice and doing something that's uncomfortable for him. And it's one of the reasons why I don't think he's ever going to be a superstar in the league. I don't think he's going to be anywhere near that tier, because I don't think he's willing. What he has come in since day one, in terms of his game, that's the same thing we see today. Same thing. The only thing I would say, he's improved his defense a little bit. He's a great defender. Offensively, I don't see it working.
Okay, so 3 things with your current argument. 1, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons are both elite defensively, extremely elite defensively for their positions. And defense is a big contributor to helping win championships when they're both healthy and on the court. Second big thing, you might not have to have Ben Simmons, stretching the court, taking threes, when they just brought in a bunch of decent to unquestionably phenomenal shooters.
I
don't know. Alongside him.
I wouldn't say
Seth Curry
Danny Green is a phenomenal. Seth Curry is. I would not say Danny Green is. They brought in one.
Danny Green could be a very, very good shooter if he returns. He just had one bad season. It was last season. He can easily return to his former self. We can call 2020 COVID year. Wild stuff happens. Okay, whatever. Shooters will know how to shoot until the day they die. I'll be at 2020.
Danny Green might have died last season.
Third reason, you said that both of their lack of maturity in terms of being able to make sacrifices to help complement their games to help win and create a winning culture is part of the reasons they will not be elite. Why do you bring in Doc Rivers? Why do you bring in Danny Green?
Doc Rivers winning culture?
Why do you bring in Dwight Howard? I'm not talking about necessarily translating a winning culture. Danny Green is a winning culture. Doc Rivers has won championship with.
He's also blown 3-1 leads.
Yeah, but who hasn't?
I don't think Dwight Howard also is. I like Dwight Howard.
I'm talking in terms of veteran presences, though. Those are guys that in terms of being able to help mature these guys, because you were talking about their lack of maturity. And so, yeah, they're bringing in some guys that are more respected around the league, have had good careers, and guys that, both these players can learn from. So, I
think we're just going to have to see, because I don't see them making it. I don't want to say that, but they'll make the Eastern Conference semifinals. They're not making the Eastern Conference finals.
Do you think their expectation as a franchise for next season should be to win the finals? Because in my eyes,
I think that should be every team. I guess it's not going to be, but I think most teams should have that expectation. I don't think it's realistic.
So, so another team that you talked about, the Atlanta Hawks, you said that they're big winners because, they're going to be able to make the playoffs next season and, look for 2021 to be, some big splash in the free agency. After they prove themselves next season. Why would the 76ers be any different? I feel like you have higher expectations
what are they going
to
do in the playoffs next year? They had this first round exit. Where do you think the 76ers are going to be in the playoffs next year?
I legitimately think they can win a championship. I legitimately think that.
I don't think they get out of the second round.
We'll see.
I think the only way they get out of the second round is if Embiid or Ben Simmons gets traded at some point in the season. Only way.
Let's not forget
they're not getting out of the second round with those two players.
Than the West. That's fine. You can say what you want.
All right.
And I understand.
We're gonna have to
I'm
see.
also banking on one of the Nets players getting injured because that just feels like a sure bet for next season. Those boys cannot both stay healthy on
Yeah.
the court for a
We'll have
season.
to see, but it's we'll make this little side bet now. Basically, you so you got this. You had the 76ers making it past the second round with Ben Simmons and Embiid.
Let's save that as well for our spicy takes episode.
Okay.